The world hums with a constant, relentless noise. It is the sound of a million lives moving at once, a symphony of ambition and distraction. Look around, hurried steps on city streets, faces lit by screens. Each person is lost in a digital river of notifications, messages, endless feeds. They are connected to everything, it seems, except for the one thing that truly matters. They scroll through the lives of others, chase deadlines, fill every silent moment with a podcast or a video. Anything to avoid the quiet. In this modern age, we have become masters of avoidance. We fill every empty space with something to keep the internal silence at bay. But have you paused to wonder why? What are we running from? What if what we evade holds the answers we've been searching for? Consider this. The most important voice may be the one you've spent your life learning to silence. It does not come from the outside world. It does not speak in words or logic. It is not your mother's advice or your boss's command. It is a quiet, steady rhythm from within. It is the voice of your heart. We've been taught the heart is a biological machine, a tireless pump that keeps blood flowing. But that is a misunderstanding of its purpose. The heart is not just an organ. It's a guide, a compass, a sacred messenger. Every one of us is born able to hear this guidance. As children, we're fluent in its language. We know what brings joy without needing a reason. We know what feels wrong without needing an explanation. But as we grow, the noise gets louder. We're told to be practical, to be realistic, to listen to our heads, not our hearts. And so most of us slowly forget how to listen. We trade inner knowing for outer approval and lose the map meant to guide us home. The stakes of this forgotten conversation are higher than we can possibly imagine. This is not a matter of simple preference or a whimsical flight of fancy. It is the very foundation upon which a meaningful life is built. When you learn to listen to your heart once more, you begin a journey of alignment. Your decisions, your actions, your energy. You find a sense of purpose that does not depend on external validation. Your life begins to feel like it truly belongs to you, a path unfolding, clarity, done. Meaning a deep sense of rightness, even when it is difficult. This journey is about discovering your personal legend, the life uniquely meant for you. Your heart already knows this path intimately. Twists. The turns. The ultimate destination. It holds the blueprint for your most authentic self. Listening to it is the act of stepping onto that path. Conversely, to ignore this inner compass is to choose a different existence. Wander through life in a state of quiet confusion. When the heart's guidance is silenced, a subtle numbness begins to creep in. Success, accumulate wealth, tick all the boxes. But a persistent feeling of emptiness will remain. Being a stranger in your own life. A world that looks right on the outside, but feels profoundly wrong on the inside. This is the path of dissonance and inner conflict. This is the path that leads inexorably to regret. Years from now, when the noise finally fades, you will be alone with echoes of a life unlived. Quiet nudges, feelings of excitement you dismissed, moments of unease you ignored. The voice of your heart, once a gentle whisper, transforms into the loud, aching cry of regret. The choice, therefore, is clear: a life of authentic alignment or a life of hollow numbness. Fulfilling your destiny or lamenting what could have been. The choice is yours, and it begins now. To truly understand the heart's guidance, we must first look beyond its poetic symbolism. We must begin with the physical, the tangible, the magnificent organ beating within your chest. For centuries, we have believed that the brain is the sole commander of our being, the logical king, sitting on a throne, sending orders down to the rest of the body. But science is now revealing a more complex and beautiful truth. The heart is not merely a subordinate following orders. It is an intelligent system with its own form of wisdom, engaged in a constant, profound dialogue with the brain. In fact, your heart sends far more signals to your brain than your brain sends to your heart. Think about that for a moment. The heart is not just receiving instructions. It is actively sending information that shapes how you think, how you feel, how you perceive the world around you. This is not mystical speculation. It is a physiological fact. The heart possesses a network of neurons, a little brain of its own, that allows it to learn, remember, and make decisions. When you experience a strong emotion, a sudden rush of joy, or a pang of fear, it is your heart that often feels it first, sending a powerful cascade of signals upward that influences your mental and emotional state before your conscious mind has even had a chance to process what is happening. This continuous conversation between heart and brain is the foundation of your inner world. It determines the lens through which you see reality. When your heart is unsettled, it sends chaotic, irregular signals to the brain, contributing to feelings of anxiety, confusion, and mental fog. You are operating from a place of internal dissonance. This is the physical manifestation of what it means to be disconnected from yourself, a state where your body and mind are at war. But when your heart is calm and balanced, it sends a smooth, coherent signal to your brain. This harmony creates a state of optimal function, a biological alignment that we experience as clarity, janitos half sounds, peace, and intuitive insight. In this state, your emotional and intellectual intelligence work together seamlessly. You feel grounded, centered, and capable of navigating life's challenges with a quiet confidence. It is the very first step in learning to trust that your heart is more than a pump. It is a source of profound intelligence. The science of the heart offers us a powerful new vocabulary for understanding our inner state. Researchers speak of heart rhythm coherence, a term that describes the pattern of your heartbeat when you are feeling stressed, frustrated, or anxious. When pattern becomes erratic and disordered, it looks like a jagged, unpredictable series of peaks and valleys. This state of incoherence drains your energy. It impairs your cognitive function and activates your body's stress response, flooding you with hormones that keep you in a state of high alert. Living in this state is like trying to drive a car with the wheels hopelessly out of alignment. The ride is bumpy, inefficient, and ultimately unsustainable. On the other hand, when you experience more love, gratitude, or compassion, your heart rhythm pattern changes dramatically. It becomes smooth, orderly, and harmonious, like a gently flowing wave. This is the state of coherence. When your heart is coherent, your body's systems synchronize and work together in harmony. Your blood pressure lowers. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain receives a calming, organizing signal. This is the biological signature of alignment. It is the feeling of being in the zone or in the flow, a state where everything inside you feels right, even if the world outside is challenging. The implications of this are immense. Your emotional state is not just a fleeting feeling. It is a physical rhythm that dictates the health and clarity of your entire system. The guidance of your heart, therefore, is not an abstract idea, it is a biological signal. When something is truly right for you, it fosters a state of coherence. You feel a sense of calm, expansion, and clarity. Conversely, when something is wrong for you, it creates incoherence. You feel tightness, resistance, a subtle but persistent stress. Your body is telling you, in its most fundamental language, that you are moving against your own current. So, when we say, listen to your heart, we are not just using a metaphor. We are inviting you to pay attention to these very real physical signals. Does a certain person, a certain job, a certain choice create a feeling of jagged chaos within you? Or does it bring a sense of smooth, flowing harmony? The heart's wisdom is not found in complex logic. It is found in the simple, undeniable rhythm of coherence. It is the body's way of saying yes or no with a clarity that the mind can often obscure with its endless chatter. While the physical heart provides the biological foundation, the metaphorical heart is where this wisdom finds its voice in our lives. Across every culture and throughout all of human history, the heart has been revered as something far greater than flesh and blood. When we speak of courage, we call it heart. When we want to describe our most honest self, we say we are speaking from the heart. And when we talk about our intuition, that deep inner knowing that defies explanation, we understand it as a message from the heart. The heart, in its metaphorical sense, is your internal compass. But this compass does not work like a map. The mind thinks in words, in lists, in pros and cons. It is loud, logical, and often anxious. The heart, however, speaks a different language entirely. It is a language of feeling, a language of sensation. It does not speak in sentences, but in pulls. It does not argue, but simply is. It is the quiet, undeniable feeling of excitement when you think about a certain path, even if it makes no logical sense. It speaks in feelings of expansion when something is aligned with your soul's purpose, making you feel bigger, more curious, and more alive. It speaks in a feeling of contraction or tightness in your chest when you are moving in the wrong direction, a subtle but clear signal of resistance. It speaks in the peaceful hum of rightness that settles over you when you make a decision that honors your truth, even if it is the harder choice. And it speaks in the persistent nagging feeling of unease that follows you when you are living a life that is not truly your own. Learning to distinguish between the fearful chatter of the mind and the quiet, steady guidance of the heart is the most critical skill you can develop on the journey to your destiny. It is the difference between following a map drawn by others and navigating by your own North Star. How, then, do you begin to recognize this sacred language spoken by the heart? You must learn to pay attention to the signals of alignment. These are the feelings that arise when your actions, your thoughts, and your environment are in harmony with your truest self. The first and most powerful of these signals is a feeling of expansion. It is a sense that your world is getting bigger, not smaller. When you consider a path that is right for you, you will feel a surge of curiosity and openness. It feels less like a decision and more like an unfolding, a natural movement towards something that beckons your spirit forward with an undeniable pull. This sense of rightness often arrives with a profound feeling of peace, even when the path ahead is difficult or uncertain. It is a quiet confidence that you are moving in the correct direction, regardless of the obstacles you may face. This is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of meaning within the challenge. It is the deep internal knowing that the effort you are expending is worthwhile, that it is contributing to the person you are meant to become. Another clear signal of alignment is the quality of your energy. When you are on the right path, your efforts feel meaningful instead of draining. This is the difference between exhaustion and fulfillment. Misalignment drains you. Alignment, however, generates its own energy. It is a sustainable fire, fed by passion and authenticity. You wake up in the morning not with a sense of dread, but with a quiet eagerness to engage with your day. Think of a time when you were so absorbed in an activity that time seemed to disappear. You were in the flow. That state is a powerful manifestation of heart-brain coherence, a sign that you are perfectly aligned with the task at hand. Your heart is telling you that this activity, this focus, this direction is nourishing for your soul. These moments are direct communications from your inner compass, pointing you toward the life that is truly yours to live. They are your heart's way of illuminating your destiny. Just as the heart signals alignment, it also sends clear warnings when you are straying from your path. One of the most common and potent signals is a physical sensation of tightness or constriction, particularly in the chest. Tightness, constriction. It can feel like a subtle pressure, a heaviness, or even a dull ache around your heart, often accompanied by chronic dissatisfaction or restlessness. On the surface, your life may look perfect. You may have the job, the relationship, the home you thought you always wanted. And yet, something is missing. A quiet hum of discontent underlies everything. Success without fulfillment, arrival at the wrong destination. This hollowness is your heart's cry for authenticity. Pay attention to your patterns. Repeating the same mistakes despite knowing better is another signal. Unhealthy relationship, unfulfilling job, self-sabotaging behavior over and over. You analyze it, swear to change. Still, trapped in a loop. Decisions driven by fear, conditioning or trauma, not by the wisdom of your heart. The recurring pain is a desperate message. Stop and listen. The tightness in your chest, the pervasive dissatisfaction, the hollow victories, the painful repetitions are not punishments. They are merciful guides. The heart trying to get your attention, rumble strips at the highway's edge, warning you to correct course. Ignoring them is possible, only for so long. Quiet restlessness grows into a loud roar of regret. Your heart asks you to listen now, while correction is a gentle turn, not a crash. The language of the heart is subtle. It does not shout, it speaks in whispers. To hear it, you must learn to listen with a different kind of ear. The heart speaks softly at first, using the gentle language of intuition. That unexplainable gut feeling, that sudden flash of insight. The heart also communicates through the language of synchronicities. These are the meaningful coincidences that defy simple probability. It is when you are thinking of a long-lost friend and they suddenly call you. It is when you desperately need an answer and it appears unexpectedly in a book or a song on the radio. The rational mind is quick to dismiss these events as mere chance, but the heart understands them as signs, winks from your destiny. Your emotional reactions are another key dialect in the heart's language. Observe how you feel. Some people and places leave you feeling energized, inspired, more like yourself. Others leave you feeling drained, small, anxious. These are not random reactions. They are your heart's sensitive energetic radar, telling you what nourishes your spirit and what depletes it. Finally, the heart speaks to us through the realms of dreams and imagination. In the quiet theatre of the night, the heart is free to project its deepest truths, fears, and desires. Feelings that linger long after you wake are messages from this deeper place. Similarly, your daydreams and your imagination are not idle fantasies. They are the heart's way of showing you what is possible. Do not dismiss your daydreams as childish. They are the sketches of your destiny. They are the blueprints for a future waiting for you to have the courage to build it. If the heart speaks so clearly, why do we ever stop listening? The answer is simple: fear. Fear is the great silencer of the heart. The first and most paralyzing fear, the fear of failure. The heart may call you toward a new venture, a creative project, a bold life change. But the mind immediately chimes in with a chorus of doubts. What if you are not good enough? What if you lose it all? What if you make a fool of yourself? This voice is loud, relentless. It argues for the safety of the known over the promise of the unknown. It convinces us it's better to never try than to try and fail. And so we hesitate. We choose the predictable path, even if that guarantee steals spectacular joy. Alongside fear of failure sits its cousin, fear of disappointing others. The heart's path is often lonely at first. It may ask you to quit the stable career your parents are proud of. It may ask you to leave a relationship everyone thinks is perfect. To follow your heart is to defy expectations. The potential for judgment, misunderstanding, and conflict is terrifying. Under social pressure, listening to our heart can feel selfish. And so, we silence its call. We wear the mask of conformity. We play the expected role to keep outside harmony. But inside, we create deep, lasting disharmony. A quiet war between soul's truth and our need for acceptance. From the moment we are born, we are submerged in a sea of cultural and social conditioning. We are taught a set of rules about how the world works and what is valuable within it. One of the most pervasive and damaging lessons is the elevation of logic over intuition. The world we have built rewards practicality above all else. We are praised for making sensible, data-driven decisions. We are told to have a 5-year plan. Passion, intuition, heartfelt desires are often dismissed as childish, frivolous, or dangerously naive. The phrase, "be realistic," becomes the mantra of our upbringing. This constant message teaches us to systematically distrust our own inner guidance. Over time, this realistic approach does not protect us. It builds a cage around our spirit. We become so conditioned to think inside the box that we forget there is a vast, beautiful world outside of it, a world our heart is begging us to explore. This conditioning is reinforced at every turn. Our social narratives celebrate a very narrow definition of success. We are shown a blueprint for a good life and are encouraged to follow it without question. This blueprint rarely includes taking a leap of faith, following a mysterious calling, or choosing meaning over money. It is a path designed for the mind, not the soul. As a result, we learn to see our own heart's desires as liabilities rather than assets. We begin to internalize the world's skepticism. We become our own harshest critics, our own most vigilant prison guards. We successfully silence the heart not because we are forced to, but because we have been thoroughly convinced that its voice is untrustworthy, impractical, and a direct threat to a stable, sensible life. Beyond the external pressures lies a deeper, more personal reason why we stop listening. Pain. For many of us, there comes a time when we trust our heart. We follow its guidance and we are met with profound pain. We open ourselves to love and experience heartbreak. We take a leap and face failure. These experiences are not just disappointing, they are traumatic. They leave deep wounds on our capacity to trust. After such an experience, a self-protective instinct kicks in. The mind builds a fortress around the heart. It concludes, listening to the heart is dangerous. The only way to stay safe is to shut it down, to numb the feelings, to never be that vulnerable again. We make a subconscious vow to lead with our heads. We might throw ourselves into work, distractions, anything to keep us from having to feel too deeply. We become cynical about love, skeptical of passion, and dismissive of our own intuitive nudges. We tell ourselves we are simply being strong, mature, and rational. But in reality, we are operating from a place of deep, unhealed trauma. We are allowing the ghosts of past pain to dictate the terms of our future, ensuring that we will never be hurt in that way again, but also ensuring that we will never truly live and love fully again. Over time, this protective armor becomes a prison. The heart, which was once a source of vibrant guidance, is walled off. Life becomes safer, yes, but it also becomes smaller, greyer, and devoid of richness. The very mechanism we created to protect ourselves from pain ends up protecting us from joy. We stop listening not because we want to, but because we are afraid of what will happen if we do. So, how do we begin again? How do we relearn the language we have forgotten? It begins with the simple, revolutionary act of creating stillness. In our modern world, silence has become a precious and rare commodity. We are surrounded by a constant barrage of noise. This external noise creates an internal noise, a frantic clutter of thoughts that makes it impossible to hear the subtle whispers of the heart. The heart does not shout. It speaks most clearly in the quiet spaces we create for it. Therefore, the first step is to consciously and deliberately remove the noise. It means setting aside time each day to simply be without distraction. Turn off your phone, close your laptop. It might feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind, accustomed to constant stimulation, will likely race. But if you stay with it day after day, the frantic energy will begin to settle. The mental chatter will quiet down. And in that newfound space, you will begin to notice something else. The gentle, steady rhythm of your own inner world. It is in this quiet observation that you can start to distinguish between the loud, anxious voice of your conditioned mind and the calm, knowing voice of your heart. Find what works for you. The method is less important than the intention. The goal is to create a small island of silence in the ocean of your day. This is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Silence is the soil in which the seeds of your heart's wisdom can finally begin to sprout. It is the first and most essential act of relearning how to listen. Stillness creates the space to listen, but listening is only half of the equation. The heart will not continue to speak if it knows its guidance will be ignored. It needs to know that it will be honored. This requires the second essential practice, courage. Not the courage to make a dramatic leap, but the quiet courage to take small, consistent acts of trust. Trust is not rebuilt overnight. It is rebuilt moment by moment, choice by choice. Start small. Maybe your heart is telling you that you need more rest. Cancel your evening plans. Go to bed early, honoring that need. Perhaps your heart feels a pull to be creative. Spend 15 minutes sketching. Maybe your heart feels unease around a certain person. Politely decline their next invitation. Each of these small acts sends a powerful message inward. It says, I hear you, I trust you, your guidance matters to me. Every time you honor a small nudge from your heart, its voice grows a little stronger, a little clearer. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you listen and act, the more guidance you will receive. The fear of making a big mistake begins to dissolve. You are no longer focused on a terrifying leap, but on the next single, manageable step right in front of you. This process is about rebuilding integrity with yourself. It is about aligning your actions with your inner knowing. Over time, these tiny acts of courage accumulate. They build a foundation of self-trust that makes bigger, bolder decisions feel less daunting. The path to your destiny is not a giant leap across a chasm. It is a path paved with thousands of small, honest steps, each one taken with the quiet courage to honor the truth of your own heart. As you practice stillness and take small acts of courage, you will begin to understand a profound truth. Destiny is not a fixed point on a map. Rather, destiny is a living, breathing relationship. It is a continuous dialogue between you and your heart. It is a dance of call and response. Your heart offers a whisper. When you listen and respond with a small step, the path becomes a little clearer. Think of it this way. The universe is waiting to meet you halfway, but it will only do so once you start moving. When you ignore your heart's call, the path remains hidden. The synchronicities fade, the opportunities dry up. This is not because your destiny has vanished, it is because you have stopped participating in the conversation. Destiny is not something that is given to you. It is something you co-create through your willingness to listen and act. Every time you honor your heart, you are actively shaping your destiny. A choice made from your inner truth sends a ripple out into the world. For example, the small act of signing up for a pottery class might lead you to meet a new friend, who then tells you about a job opening, which becomes the career you were always meant to have. None of this could have been planned by the logical mind. It could only unfold through a series of responsive steps. This reframes the journey entirely. It removes the pressure of having to figure everything out in advance. Your only job is to listen for the next whisper and to take the next step. Destiny is not a destination to be reached, but a direction to be followed, a relationship to be nurtured. Perhaps you are reading this and feel a sense of loss. You feel that you have ignored your heart for too long. It is now too late to change course. Let me assure you of a beautiful and hopeful truth. The heart never truly leaves you. It does not abandon you. It simply waits. It waits with a patience that is deeper than time itself. It may have grown quiet from years of being ignored, but its presence is constant. The moment you decide to listen, truly listen, it responds. It does not matter if it has been 5 days or 50 years. A single, honest decision is all it takes to begin the journey of alignment. The heart, in its infinite wisdom and compassion, will always answer that call. It has been waiting for you all along. Your destiny is not some far-off prize. It is not ahead of you at all. It is within you. It is a seed that was planted in your soul the day you were born. Your life's greatest work is not to build something outside of yourself, but to excavate the truth that already resides within. It is to clear away the noise, the fear, the conditioning, so you can finally hear the magnificent story you were born to live. And so we end with a final invitation. A question for you to carry not in your mind, but in your heart. Take a quiet moment now. Take a deep breath. Place a hand over your own chest and feel the steady, faithful rhythm beneath your palm. This is the voice. This is the guide. Ask yourself this with all the honesty you can muster. If your heart spoke its truth to you, clearly and without doubt, in this very moment, would you have the courage to listen? The answer will determine everything.